ALC. Welcome to Sensational Sundays.
ALC Global.
And thank you for, if this is your first time, thank you for letting this be your first time. And I always hope it will not be your last time. I am Edward Montgomery. I am Dr. Ed. I am the founder and director of ALC. And all the things that we do, it is because of ALC and the membership of this congregation that allows us to do whatever we do. So I am grateful. Thank you for your service, your prayers, your contributions. And I thank God. Matter of fact, put your hands together. Let's thank God for ALC, for what you have done over the years. Over 40 years. Today, one of the things I've always learned, and that is to stick to my subjects and my text. It was drowned into me in school. And in other words, once you get your text out and once you throw it out there, stick to it, do not. Public speaking teaches you, do not deviate. And these things are very true. And if I have any students in here, stick to your text, do not deviate from your text. Do not go over the hill and around the corner and through rabbit trails to get there until you reach a certain age. Now, when you reach a certain age and you have been in a space and a place for over 40 years to where you have people that kind of love you and will forgive you, then you're able to slip out of those texts. But as time goes on and based on the times we live in, there's certain things that I have to do. But you got to know when to do it. You got to have the gospel of Kenny Rogers. You've got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. And you got to know when to walk away. Now, so what I have learned is here how to talk about things. So I'm not taking a text completely, although text is all the way through it. But what I'm going to talk about a little bit today, we're going to talk about, we're going to talk a little money. We're going to talk a little abundance. We're going to talk a little politics, but it's going to be a whole lot of faith and how faith relates. We're going to talk a little bit about celebrityism, maybe. But it's all going to connect with faith. There's a whole lot of faith and how faith and scripture relates to things. I did not send my scripture in, but if I can warn them early enough when it's time to get there, it'll actually be John chapter 6, beginning at the 26th verse, and where I'll use it to expound a few things when I need it. John chapter 6 and the 26th verse. And you probably would want to use the King James Version. That would be a lot easier. But how many of you today need or want some money? See, I knew I was going to get that reaction because you're not sure if the Lord will allow you to do that. But how many of you want some more money? Want money, see? Now, how many of you need some more money? How many of you want more than you already have? Okay, so get over this. Get over that. Always get over that. Never let anyone come in and tell you got to be a little bit more humble about that, because if you don't know, I'm going to tell you exactly how to get more money within the next 2 minutes. And that's not going to be at the end of exactly how to tell you. And it's very simple. And I've been doing this for years and saying it for years. If you want more money, if you need more money, I'm not going to tell you to pray more. I'm not going to tell you to have more faith. I'm going to tell you if you need more money, here's what you do. The first thing you must do is you must get more value to what you are, or what I say, or to what you do. You must increase the value of what you do. As number one, if you want more money, you must increase your education. You must increase how you think. You must increase your emotions, or should I say, how you see or feel about increase or feel about money. You must do more. You must give more. You must separate yourself from other people who are doing the mundane and become someone who does something that when people look, they ask the question, what is that? Who is that? Why is that? Okay? Now you have something to work on. And I'm not telling you something that I just think or something that, I'm hoping to be. I've done it for 40 years and separated ourselves and watched other people saying, ain't you supposed to be a church? But yet we forged our own direction. We carved our own path. And even right now, we have watched the church grow from 25 people to thousands of people, 25,000 as far as television, people watching. Millions of people have tuned in to ministry. We have done it for over 40 years. And even right now, your congregation is not merely what's sitting in here, but it's beyond the realm of online. It's beyond the realm of what people see out there in the ether sphere. You must begin to do what is different and set yourself apart. Now, what are we supposed to live in? One of the things we have been taught about money is that, when it comes in, save it and hoard it and everything else. We're not hoarders of money. We are not people who just really save money. Never have a savings plan, always have an investment plan. This is how you make money. It's very simple. I'll tell you where the difficulty comes in. These are all it's very simple. These are investment plans. You invest in yourself. I tell people the simplest thing you do, if you have none at all, you give God 10%, give yourself 10%, and learn to live on 80%. I tell them that it's very simple. Start there. And if you can do that, then what you're doing is you have to have discipline, more discipline about how you deal with money. What do you mean more discipline? I just believe, no, more discipline. The Bible is about discipline. I said I was going to throw some scripture, it's a lot of faith connected to it. Why do you need discipline? The whole New Testament is full of discipline. Jesus had 12 disciplines. Oh, the root word, 12 disciples. The root word of disciple is discipline. The full definition of the word disciple is a learner under come on, say it. Discipline. It is a learner under discipline. Judas hung himself not because he learned, but because he came out of the discipline. For money. You see how you can get off? This is what a disciple is. So when we learn how to do these things, live more, educate more, create more value, give more, do more, then we will earn more. That is the way it is done. Okay. Now, when you want to deal in the high kind of money that you want in the multiple billions, you have to understand there are things that you have to think a certain way. They have something that is called, what in the world is that thing called? A high, is it HFT? It's HFT. These are high transfers. These are stock transactions. And when I was doing stock transactions, especially dealt with commodities and everything I learned, it took me, I said, if I'm going to teach people about abundance and things of that sort, the first thing I need to do is let me see if I can build something from scratch. And so I said, okay, what do I don't know? I don't know about commodities. So I heard they got a lot of money in there, so I'm going to build a commodity business from scratch. No longer have it because I can't see what I need to see to do what I need to do. But I built this little bitty commodity company. And so I did it out of my house when ALC was only about 15 years old, if that age. And I said, okay, I started with $50. And I traded that $50 to $70. There were times that they say if you leave it there, you can make $1,000. But I have disciplined myself to say I'm only going to get $25 profit a day. Then I did that for a month. Then I changed my profit level to $50 a day. If I can get 50, well, actually, it's more like $10 a day or $12 a day. But I knew, and I put it away, and I only used the profit to fund the next projects, which teaches something, which is where I came up with the concept. Pastor John Osteen actually told me the first part, but I came up with the second part. Pastor John Osteen told me, he says, Lakewood Church does not live from offering to offering. They do not live from paycheck to paycheck. I teach people to live from the top of the barrel. That's where it came from. In other words, you have enough faith. You use the faith and these principles to take a barrel and you fill that barrel up with money to the top. And from that point on, you never empty the barrel. It can take you 5 years to fill that barrel up. But from that point on, you never empty that barrel. Now, and you never take from it. You can borrow from it. Borrow 5-10% from it. But realizing you're borrowing from yourself. But you must also, and this is where I come in, if you don't love yourself, you will not pay yourself back. How do I know? Because you don't pay your friends back. Or your relatives. And these are the people you should pay back first. Why don't you? Because you don't have the discipline to pay them back. And discipline is an intangible thing that is spiritual. All right? Okay. I went a little bit further and say, so when you borrow it, then you believe. See, it is easier to believe to fill up a barrel that is 90% full to 100% by believing, trusting for 10%. It's easier to trust you can get 10% to fill up that barrel rather than 90% because it's all the way down to 10%. It's hard to do that. And anybody that tells you it's easy, they fooling you. It is hard to do it. But if you can, you learn how to borrow 5% from yourself, 7%, and you learn and charge yourself interest. And you take the interest, don't make yourself a high interest, don't be a loan shark to yourself. But you take a little bit of that interest and you put it away. But what are you putting it away for? Well, up under the barrel, you have a pan. The pan up under the barrel is when the barrel gets so full. You don't take it. We say, it's so full. Let me take some of this out and go buy some candy bars. No, don't do that. That's not what you want. Let the barrel overflow into the pan. Then you learn and discipline yourself. over time to live off of what's in the pan. So you have fun with what's in the pan. You borrow what you need if you need it from the barrel. And you have faith to pay the barrel back until it fills up again and overflows, and you have fun again. Now, why do you want money? Money, see, that's why I say if you want money, yeah, you want money. But it's not currency that you want. What you want is the ability to do what you want, when you want, and not worry 30 days later what you got to pay. Right? You want to be able to send your children to college. You want to be able to do the things that you want to do, to pay for it and put it aside, and it's done, and you ain't got to worry about it no more. You want to be able to have this secured for the rest of your life, as well as for your children and your children's children. This is what you want it for. You want to be able to go somewhere. You want to sit on the beach with a coconut and a straw and an umbrella. You want to be able and to be with somebody that you ain't got to worry about whether how am I going to pay this guy back or this girl back, because she paid for the trip. Okay, so I did deviate. I told you I wasn't going to stick to my text. Now, the point is this. This is what you want. This is what you want money for. It is a sense of security. It is safety. It is a feeling that you don't have to. This is why you want this. But you also must remember that it is a spiritual thing that you must connect to this thing that is called money. Because if you don't keep your spirit straight, then you're going to lose yourself. Now, I said words like belief and faith that makes people think, if they're listening to me right now, that I'm merely only talking to church people or people of faith. But no, I'm talking everybody. Everybody believes. Everybody has faith. We know it because we know it from the whiz. If you believe in yourself, because you can't go home without belief. You can't go home. If you believe, you can do all these things. We are taught to believe in ourselves. Christians have always gotten confused with that thing. Do you believe in God or do you believe in yourself? Well, lean not to thine own understanding. It didn't say you can't understand. You said don't lean on it. Lean not to thine own understanding. In other words, do you believe in yourself? Well, people say you got to believe in yourself. Yeah, you got to believe in yourself. Well, who do you believe in, God or do you believe in yourself? Well, it determines on where your God is, or where you see God, or where God comes from, or where God lives. All of this, and this is what I had to come to as far as my understanding of money, of my understanding of abundance. Notice I didn't say prosperity. Prosperity is about success. But prosperity, the definition of this is having a successful life. Successful is the completion of something the way you want it. But many times what I'm looking for is to complete something that is beyond the way I want it. So it's beyond prosperity. It moves into that realm of abundance, and it is a whole different kind of thing. But what we are looking at when it comes to belief and believing, I had Siri all set up, but evidently Siri is not connecting with the Wi-Fi very well today. And so she don't feel well. So I decided, I asked her if she wanted to work with me this morning, and she said, no, Dr. Ed. She said, no, she says, no, Ed, not today. And so I wouldn't let her work with me today because if I asked her, she might not talk. And then her definitions have been off a little bit without Wi-Fi. But if she's got a good, strong Wi-Fi, she's all right, but something happened. Anyway, so I was going to bring her on to understand, to hear belief as well as the word believing, as well as the word follow. All of these words are important. I dealt with it last week, but I'm trying to make sure that I'm getting through. The word belief is, one of the definitions is the acceptance of an opinion. That is one definition of belief. That is the latest definition of belief within the last 200 years. I also had Siri go back and had Siri to look into the origin of the word belief. She comes back and she told me, and she said the origin of the word belief is to love, to bind, to connect, to engage, and to trust. I said, Siri, this sounds serious between you and I here. And I discovered so is belief in its original form. It is the form that was used by Jesus. Jesus did not ask them to believe he was the Son of God. You will find it when you change your belief, and if you can discipline yourself to hold that belief. I said before that belief, they could have translated opinor, which is the root word for opinion, but it was not translated opinor. I hold an opinion. It was beluven. I hold. You have to hear Siri say beluven, but it says I hold love. I am engaged with love. We are bound by love. Jesus said, follow me, come with me. The rich young ruler said to him, Lord, what lack I yet to have eternal life? He says, I've done everything. I've done this, and I've kept the commandments. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not commit adultery. I've done all those things, Jesus. Good master. What did Jesus says? Why are you calling me good? There's nobody good but God. Can you imagine Jesus telling someone, no one good but God? And he says to him, and Jesus said, sell all that you have, or sell what you have. He didn't ask him to sell all his fortune. He just said, sell what you have. Give to the poor. He didn't say give it all to the poor. He said give to the poor. You have to listen what Jesus says. He says, and follow me. And it says the rich young ruler dropped his head, shook his head basically, and walked away, for he had much possession. Because part of wealth and abundance is learning to give away things without thought here, or to override your thoughts of selfishness through discipline. See? And so what happened was he walked away, and the scriptures say when the boy walked away, it says, while he was walking away, it says, and Jesus loved him. He wanted him. Come on with me, follow me. Everybody that says, Lord, I want to follow you, Jesus said, come on. And they said, well, you know, I just bought a piece of land. And Jesus said, drop it, follow me. Well, one of my parents passed away. Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead, follow me. Oh, that's harsh. But Jesus was saying there's so much value in following me. But here's the thing. Belief is not the acceptance of an opinion. Because if it's merely the acceptance of an opinion, then when another weightier opinion comes along, it will crush the first opinion, and you will lose your belief. Not only that, but you will lose your faith, because you see, the word belief is pisteo, and the word faith is pisteo. In other words, Jesus used them interchangeably. The word faith and belief are the same. So what you're seeing is that when Jesus asks you to come with me, he is saying, follow me. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Come unto me. The same word where he told Peter, when Peter said, Lord, if it's you, tell me, allow me to come to you on the water. Jesus said, come unto me, all ye that labor. In other words, that are tired of religious rituals. Come unto me, that are tired of these religious rules that the Puritans brought over from European Christianity. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, Jesus said, and I will give you rest. He says, take my yoke. In other words, he's talking agriculture. He's talking about oxen. He's talking about a cart. He says, but the cart has to be pulled by oxen. There's 2 oxen in this particular cart. Take my yoke upon you. I will have 1 oxen that has been there for a while. You're going to be the new oxen. You will get up under this yoke. And when it's time to turn, and he says, there's the master of who's on the cart will tap you on the nose, not beat you. The whip is not to beat the oxen. The whip is just to give them the signals of whether to turn left or right. They have to learn the discipline of the signals. Or they must understand the discipline of the signs. What are the signs to turn left? 1 tap. The signs to turn right. 2 taps on the nose. The sign to stop. 1 tap on the ear. These are all signs to the oxen. And Jesus says, and if you take my yoke upon, my discipline upon you, you will find that my yoke is easy and my burden or my discipline is light. You will find rest unto your souls. Jesus never asked his disciples to believe with assent of an opinion. In other words, just come up to here and say, do you believe that Jesus is the Lord? Do you believe that Jesus can wash away your sins? Yes. Do you believe? Jesus never asked them that. Well, how did Jesus engage sinners? He never did. He engaged the lost. Luke chapter 15, the lost coin, the lost boy, the lost sheep. Jesus engaged the lost. And the first thing of coming to yourself, when Jesus was talking about the prodigal son, he says the prodigal son came to a point in his life that he could no longer eat the husk of the corn from the pigs and live a low life. He made a decision and he said, my life is better than this in my father's house. And it says, and he said to him, he came to himself and said, I will go home. He believed, because if you believe in yourself, you can sing to me. If you believe in yourself, you can go home. I already said it earlier in the message. You didn't catch it? All right. Okay. All right. Believe you can go home. Believe you can walk on air. Click your heels 3. Y'all just catching this? Okay, that means I can't sing. That's what that means. 3 times. Believe. I thought you were learning from the words. Believe. If you believe in yourself, right from the start. See, it is this thing that we have been taught that me and Jesus are separate. And this is what causes the crushing of our faith. I was listening to a celebrity, and they were talking about huge celebrity who, talks a lot of sports and things of that sort. and did an interview. And what the celebrity was saying was talking about the former president and how, you know, they're just dogging the former president and dogging, you know, someone who is the leader of the other party who wants to be president. And I was sitting there listening to him, and I realized, and I said to myself, I said, do you realize how much power you carry in your hand? And what you are saying, there are some people who are going to believe in what you're saying. They were talking about why are people dogging the former president and conjuring up all of these charges against the president. I sat there and I was getting ready to throw my shoe at the TV. And the reason I was because I said, because they already proved that he did it. They did a civil thing that where he raped, they said he molested the woman. They proved they're saying that he did it. And so you're saying, why are they using that? The Democrats need to come up with a better way of being able to state their case. I said, what better way? And I said, you mean to tell me you would be satisfied with an elected president who is doing presidential things from jail? Because you see, the way the Constitution is written, you can be president and actually do presidential things from jail. Yes, ma'am. And in other words, you all right with the woman, you all right with the documents. You said, I ain't got nothing. And they were there all the time. They was in the toilet on the gold toilet seat. All of this is proven. And so I asked the question, listen, I am not because I'm biased, don't like nobody. I'm not that. You really want someone with the hint of criminality. But yet you went crazy when a black candidate had a pastor that you didn't like what he said. And you made him separate from that pastor before you would even vote and caused a big stir about it. Obama, Jeremiah Wright, I'll say those names because I've talked to both of them and I know them both, so I can say those names. My point is, all of this kerfuffle, and then you say it's all right to sell Bibles. 73% of church people in a particular party have increased their support for a man while his wife had just had the baby, was with the woman in the department store. And I asked the question, why? And the answer has come back. Here's the answer. Well, it may not be right, but we want to change in America. So does the little baby when you take them into the changing room. But that don't mean you take the diapers and keep them with you for the rest of your life. So you must begin, if we are about to make a difference, because here is what's about to happen. The structure's about to change. John chapter 6, here is why your belief is so important. Verse 26, read it and I'll expound.
Jesus answered them and said, most assuredly, I say to you, you seek me not because you saw the signs, but because you ate of the loaves and were filled.
Wait a minute, right there. He said, you seek me not because you saw the signs. Notice, the loaves and the bread were considered to be signs of the coming kingdom. not just a miracle to believe that he was Jesus, the Son of God. They saw it as a sign that the kingdom was coming. Keep reading.
Do not labor for the food which perishes, but for the food which endures to everlasting life, which the Son of Man will give you, because God the Father has set his seal on him.
Stop right there. There is food which gives you eternal life. We got to find out what that food is. And it says that the Son, Jesus, will give it to you because God has given him his seal, which in other words, his authority, his power upon the earth to do this thing. Remember now, you're going to need that. Jesus has the power to do whatever it is he's going to say he's going to do. Keep reading.
Then they said to him, "What shall we do that we may work the works of God?" Jesus answered and said to them, "This is the work of God, that you believe in him who he sent."
Stop right there. What is the work of God? The work of God is not a bologna sandwich under the bridge, although bologna sandwiches are good if you ain't got no food. That's why we do it. But we do it out of our understanding of helping those who are in need. But the work of God, Jesus answers the question. The work of God is to believe. Now, if we broke it down, are we saying that the work of God is to accept an opinion? Come on down and if you just do this and get saved, you got that, you got it immediately, just like that. You remember now, you're going to heaven right now immediately. Oh, that can't be it, because that does not make sense. You got to remember, God does not throw your brain out of here. You must make sense. What is the work of God? Jesus said believe is the work of God. What is belief? Belief is loyalty. Belief is trust. Belief is engagement. Belief is love. Belief is binding. He says that's the work of God. Follow, come unto me. Follow me. That is the work of God. The work of God is to follow Jesus. How many of you, when you, I'm going into the flesh, that's where I have to stop. I was getting ready to say, how many of you, when you meet someone, automatically accept that the opinion that they are the one for you? And the reason I was going to get in trouble, because I was going to say, well, you certainly don't sleep with them because or anything, because the first time, because, and then I remembered the internet stuff. I know where the hookup stuff is. I know where it is. I don't get it, but I know where it is. I've heard it, and my son said, don't you talk about that. But anyway, but I know what people, I look at it, I see what people do. You take your time to follow someone, to get to know, to engage with someone, so you know who you are before you enter into those intimate chambers. Are you following what I'm saying? And I'm being very serious here. Who are you? Where do you come from? What do you want? Why are you talking to me? Why am I talking to you? What do you like? What do you dislike? I want to know about these things first. And when I learn these things, what am I doing? I am believing now. Who are you, Jesus? What do you want? Why am I doing this? Why am I coming after you? Paul said it this way, that I may apprehend that for which I was apprehended. I want to know who you are. Why am I following you? Why am I going with you in this direction? What is it that you have that belongs to me that I don't have? Jesus said, come see, follow me. And as I follow him, I began to learn of him. I become one of his disciples. So when you ask me, are you a Christian? Now you see why it no longer has much meaning to me. because I don't know what you think about Christianity. But if you ask me, what are you? I'm a follower of Jesus Christ and his teachings. I just told you a lot about me. And the more I walk with him, the more I talk with him. Start reading. Keep on reading.
Therefore they said to him, what sign will you perform then, that we may see it and believe you? What work will you do? Our fathers ate the manna in the desert, as it is written, he gave them bread from heaven to eat. Then Jesus said to them, most assuredly I say to you, Moses did not give you the bread from heaven, but my Father gives you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is he who comes down from heaven and gives life to the world. Then they said to him, Lord, give us this bread always. And Jesus said to them, I am the bread of life. He who comes to me shall never hunger, and he who believes in me shall never thirst. But I said to you that you have seen me and yet do not believe. All that the Father gives me will come to me, and the one who comes to me I will by no means cast out.
Stop. All that the Father gives me, I will in no means or no ways cast out. Those who follow him or believe in him are not pushed away by him. Keep reading.
For I have come down from heaven, not to do my own will, but the will of him who sent me. This is the will of the Father who sent me, that of all he has given me, I should lose nothing, but should raise it up at the last day. And this is the will of him who sent me, that everyone who sees the Son and believes in him may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up at the last day.
I'll stop it right there. Everyone who follows him, in the state of following, not in believed, which ends it and says, I believed in church 2 years ago. I was saved 5 years ago. Baby, you're being saved every minute of your life. He's doing something inside of me every minute of my life. Opportunities are coming to me because I have the ability to have patience. He has taught me how to endure things. So when trauma happens in my life, I get through it because I know there's something on the other side. When my heart is broken and I can't even sew it back together, and when I look over and wonder, is there someone here that can help, and I find myself all alone, I've come to understand. I come to the garden alone while the dew is still on the rose, and the joy, what's the rest of that? Joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. And he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me that I am his own. You got it. You're getting it. And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. Y'all got it now? Whew. Let me break in here for a second. I want to tell you a little secret. There is something I used to do. It was commodity trading. And they used to have
something on the list called winter wheat. I never knew what it was, never paid any attention to it, because in my northern background, all I saw in the winter was hard ground, snow. How could anything grow? Well, I learned different. I learned that winter wheat was something that was planted around the fall, around September, October. And when it was planted, they didn't just throw the seed out there on the ground. Of course, it would be too hard. But they drilled down into the earth and almost like planted them one by one. Now, when the snow came and the winter came, it would go dormant. But when the spring came, it would come up again. And they would harvest it around that time. Winter wheat. In other words, there are things in our lives that we plant in times when people think they won't grow. There's a number 9 that I believe symbolizes finality. It symbolizes harvest. It symbolizes the end of something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10, you start all over again. This is 2024. 2, 2, 4 equals 8, new beginnings. But watch this. You can plant during the new beginnings, but you can't eat the harvest until later. When you plant something, it takes time. Sometimes it's dormant. Sometimes there's a winter. Sometimes you feel like everything is shut down, just like the earth is shut down in the winter. But you know what? Spring is coming. A different kind of growth is about to take place. So what you thought was not going to happen is going to happen. It's a seed that you plant in the earth. The seed and the need. The need is in the seed, and the seed is in the need. So whatever it is that you need, and whatever needs you see around you, plant it. It might be $9.90. It might be, for those of you who have it, and people have it, it might be $90.90, or it might be $99.90, whatever. Put a 9 in that offering. It might just be $9. Whatever it is, take the time. Plant it now. You can call the number, you can text to give. People love it. 713-742-2035. That's 713-742-2035. Or you can go to myalc.org. I love myalc.org. It's safe, it's secure. And you can hit that donate button, smash it, crash it, hit it. Let it be known that you're there. And you will see how to do it. Look, there are a lot of needs around in this world. There's going to be a lot of issues coming up. It's going to look like everything is lying dormant. But remember, if you put your seed in the ground, it's already coming up while you're not thinking about it. In the wintertime, it's not the heat from the sun outside that will grow this seed. Guess what? It's going to be the warmth of the sun inside that will make this seed come to life. It's going to be a warmth, like warm oil inside of you. Give, you'll feel it, and it will make a difference not only in the lives of others, but also in your life. All right? We love you. Stay blessed.